Hello everyone, my name is Billy, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to deploy your React app with Azure Devops. Before we begin the tutorial, you will need to first set up your Azure Devops project and your Azure App Service. And if you don't know how to do that, make sure you check in the description below for my previous video. Let's get started by creating our React app. I'm going to be using the Create React App CLI, and we're just going to be using the npx create react app command to actually create our files. And what this will do is it will avoid setting up all the boilerplate that is required to create your React app, and it will also do the npm install for you. So I'm going to open Visual Studio Code, and I already have my Angular and my Vue app, so I'm going to npm install create React app. You want to install it globally if you haven't. Okay, I've already done so I'm not going to run that. So next is npx create React app, and I'm going to call this my React app. All right. And this is just going to, like I said, create all your boilerplate, and then it will do the npm install, and I will continue the video after this so you don't have to see this whole process. Okay, so everything's now completed and installed. So let's take a look at what we have. We have our source file, which will have our React app. In our public, we have the index.html, which will kick off the React app, and we have our node modules, which will have our React app dependencies. Let's take a look at our package.json, and what we're looking for here is our build command. So when we think of Azure DevOps, we got to think of the steps involved in deploying our app to production, and one of the steps we'll need to do is our npm install, but the second step we'll need to do is our build. And this will create a nice distributed file that we will deploy to our, in this case, app service. So let's run our build command, npm run build. Actually, first we have to navigate to our React app. So cd react app, and then we want to run npm, let me clear this first. So let's run npm run build. And it will go through the process of using the React script and running and creating our distribution file right here. So once again, I will pause the video and continue after it's done. Now that the build is done, let's take a look at what is inside. So we have our index.html, which will be key because this will be what Azure App Service will look at for a kickoff file. Then we have our React JavaScript. We have our CSS. Okay, so there's one key thing. If you don't like having the map files in, you could add a separate script. I've had one here. So build-prod React script build, and all you need to do is add like a rimraft to look inside build static any of your .map files in your JavaScript, or if you will kind of want any CSS or JavaScript, you can go any of the map files. Okay, so I'm not going to do that right now, but if your preference is to not include your map files, you can always add that little extra little build prod. So what we're going to do is we're going to commit this to my repo, which will be a Azure DevOps repo, just to kind of keep it simple. So I'm going to call it added React app. Okay, I'm just going to commit that first. Yes, I'm going to commit. Close that. And then I'm just going to just push that up to the repo. All right. Now let's go set up our build and release pipeline. So we'll go back to the dev.azure.com/whatever your project name is. We're going to click on the rocket ship button here, and this will take you to the build release pipelines. And you can see I already have my Angular and my Vue build going. I'm going to click new. I'm going to click new build pipeline to create our React one. And I'm going to use the classic editor. And once you do this, you choose your source control. I chose the Azure repo Git, which is the one I just pushed to. I'm going to click continue. And I'm going to choose a template next. Any template with Node.js is basically fit our needs. I'm going to choose this one. Click apply, and it's just going to set it up for us. So once you get here, you kind of get a little tabs here and some steps here to do. So these tabs, the only one you'll need to kind of worry about is the trigger one, which will set up the continuous integration and for the release, the continuous deployment. So I'm going to click enable continuous integration, and I'm going to set a path filter as well. So And click this, and we're going to just say React App. And this will just do a change detection on any time master is built or master is pushed to and inside of this folder. Okay, so since I have in this folder here, let's go here. Since I have a React and a Vue app, or if you have any ASP.NET Core apps or anything else, only changes underneath this file directory will trigger the build. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then you might want to be able to set up your retention to see how long you want to keep builds for, and this history tab will just show you the changes that you make to your build. Okay. So the next thing back in task we want to do is give ourselves a good name. So I'm going to create this with the same kind of name that I did with all my other apps. So React App CI. And then the agent pool is the task runner, and this one is the one I'm going to be choosing. This will have a node on it, so you can also set up a private one that will run on your local host. I'm going to quickly save this first, just save those changes. So I have my trigger, and now let's go to agent job, and then under each agent job is going to be a series of steps that will be executed. Okay, so let's go here, and then you can set variables or set timeouts or set some things you want to do and inherit from agent pool. So if you can have different agent pools running if you would like. I'm going to leave this name, just leave it all the same. And we're going to go to step 1. So when we create our original React app, step 1 was to npm install. So I'm going to say, choose a working directory that you think your package.json's in, and I know that it's going to be in my React app. So I'm going to choose that. So the first step is going to do an npm install in my React app, and that is going to produce my node modules. Okay, so the first step will be to do a checkout and then do an npm install to produce node modules. And then the next step we're going to do is we're going to do the build step. So we're going to remove this since it's not really needed, and we're going to clone this step here. And we're going to do a npm run build, okay, as the name, and we're going to go from command install to command custom. And this is already the right folders that we want to run our npm run build, and Azure DevOps will automatically put npm in front of this. So all we have to do is do the follow-up, which is run build. And if you had your build prod, which you didn't want your map files, you can just do build prod. So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to save frequently, so I'm going to save this again. And the next step we want to do is kind of archive the build file. So we're going to archive and zip all of these files. Okay, so anything that wants to go into the release, we're going to zip it and publish it. So let's do that now. So go to archive files, and we're going to change this to the directory that we know our build stuff is in. So I'm going to go to this directory first, and I'm going to add build. Okay, so remember, if you have your own custom Webpack build or some other build that you have, and you have it in like a distribution folder, just make sure that all of your build stuff goes in there, and you point this folder directory right here so that it knows what to zip up. Okay, so next thing to do is where is it actually going to be zipped to? So these are variable names. This variable name must match this name right here. Okay, and this is important because once you zip it, you need to actually publish it somewhere for your release to be able to pick it up. And for organizational sake, Azure DevOps will give you a build ID, and this build ID is referred to the build sequence. So for example, your first build will be build ID 1, your second one will be build ID 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is all we have to modify here, and this we don't really have to modify anything because it will know to look in this directory to publish any of the files. All right, so we're going to save this now, and we're going to go to our build area, and we're going to now trigger a build to run off for the first time. So you're going to notice that your React build is actually not here because the default view is actually for recent. If you hover over recent, so you want to click folders, and then your React app will be there. Okay, so if you're wondering where it went, that is what. So no build found. We're just going to click run. Master, that's your job agent. So let's run. You can see manual build. And this means that it is queued up, and as soon as it becomes kind of like a spinning cog, that means that it will have started. right now. So this is the spinning cog, and you can tell this web page or this page has WebSockets, so it will automatically update you. So if you want to see the progress, you can click here, and you can see that what it's trying to do. So I'm gonna kind of click into this, and you can see more in detail what it's trying to do, like the npm install. You can see initialize job, checkout, npm install, run build, archive files, and publish/drop. Okay, so these are the steps that it's going to try to do. You can watch this kind of build on your own, but I'm going to create the release in the meantime as this is finishing. So let's go to release. Same thing with release. We have our Angular and our view. So let's click on new release pipeline. All right, and then what we're going to do, since we're going to deploy to a Azure App Service, I'm going to click this template and I'm going to click apply. And at this stage right here, you're kind of wondering, like, what am I doing here? Like, there's nothing really to do. You have to look at the red exclamation mark here or the exclamation mark here. Those are the things you'll have to do. I'm just going to close this. You can either click here, which will take you to tasks, or you can click tasks, which will take you here. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to point it towards my app service. So you click here. I already have one registered. If you don't, you can click here, and then the little authorize button will come up. So just click authorize, sign in through your Azure portal, and verify that this is you. All right. And I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click this app, and this is the app in my app service name. Right. This is the one. And it currently is running an Angular app. So as soon as I deploy this, it should replace with my React app. So let's go back here, and that's correct. I'm going to call this production. All right, and here. So you don't really have to change anything since it took the configuration from here. So it took the app service names as subscription and it kind of auto-filled it in. Okay. And that's all you have to do here. So we're going to go back to the pipeline, and you're going to see that the exclamation mark went away here, which means there's no more actionable items. And we're going to point it to the artifact that we need to do. So, and this is the build that we just created, the published one. We're going to point to React App CI, and we're going to add this. And once you add it, you can see there's a little lightning bolt now. And this is the continuous deployment trigger. And we're going to enable this. And similar to the other one, we can add filters, and we can add master filters if you have like a PRing Git flow going. I'm just going to not include this for now. Just let it deploy whenever this build is done. Okay. And then another thing you want to do is you want to set up kind of like an approval process. You can play with this, but one important one you want to do if you're going to your production environment is pre-deployment approvals. And this will, you can put in your email address here, and this will send you an email address and ensure that you have to press approve before it goes to production, okay? So that is important to keep in mind. I'm going to disable that for now because I don't need to do the approval process. And I'm going to click save here. Okay, now we're going to go back to our build. You're going to see that the build has completed. Let's take a look just really quickly. Initialize checkout, npm install, run build, archive, and the publish. So that was all the steps we said to do. And I'm going to now do a git push to our React app, and we're going to see that the continuous integration will trigger it off. And then we will see, once again here, make sure you click this. Actually, I'm going to change this and give it an actual better name. Sorry about that. React app-cd. Okay, save that. Go back here, make sure the name. All right. So yeah, we're going to push, make a change. We'll do a CI here and a CD here. Okay. Let's go to our Visual Studio Code and make that change. And I'm going to just probably modify a text file or something like, let's add a h1 tag here and just go just here, learning, save that, put our changes, and just say added h1 tag. Okay, push those changes, and then say git push. And this should trigger our builds to start going. So let's go here, go to our build, and like I said, it's WebSockets, so it should update automatically. And one thing to note, as of this time, releases are currently not WebSockets, so you have to do a page refresh for releases. You can see already that's queued off and it's starting to go. So go here, and I'm going to continue the video as soon as this reaches down here, and we will hopefully be able to switch to release to see the CD process. Okay, so it has completed the build. Let's quickly jump to release, and maybe we will be able to catch it before it actually triggers itself. Okay, so I refreshed it, and now the release has started. It's going to take a little while to kind of get started. I'm going to click queue there, and you can kind of see the similar view to what the build was. You will see kind of it going through and doing its deployment process. So I'm going to continue as soon as it's done. Okay, so now that it's done running the build, we should be able to go back to our app here, click on this link, which will take us right here. And if you do a hard refresh and clear your cache, the React app should be building. Perfect. I just wanted to go back really quickly to the release pipeline, since it was kind of like a rush to catch it all. But if you want to see your releases, you can actually go click here and then click into this to see the steps that were involved in the actual release. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is the end of this tutorial. If you learned something, give it a like, leave some comments below. And if you want to watch any future videos, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.